Good morning. Sorry for the delay, guys. Not only me, but we had some internet issues. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Let's hear it. Awesome. Whose first time is it here? Let's see a show of hands. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. If you aren't familiar with 1 Million Cups, we are a community organization that has two companies present. We start off with some expert panel that asks them some questions, and then we open it up to the crowd. I am an organizer. My name is Luke. These are our other organizers behind me. They are the ones that put this on every week. So thank you to them, and thank you to the Kaufman Foundation. With that being said, we're going to start off with introducing our expert panel.
Good morning. I'm Brian Azorski. I'm a former volunteer here at 1 Million Cups, and I'm happy to be back to ask some tough questions. Good luck to those contestants today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Connor Hazerig. I'm an MBA student at UMKC, and I have my own startup. This is my first time as a panelist, so I look forward to being in this position for the first time. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And welcome to Harrisonville High School. Thanks for coming all the way up here. Appreciate it. And with that being said, we'll kick it off with our first presenter. Let's hear it for Nicholas with Speedway Groceries.
Let's hear it. That's you guys. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nicholas Smith, and I'm here to present Speedway Groceries to you, where life necessities are at your fingertips. Okay, so about Speedway Groceries. Speedway Groceries is a mobile app and website that allows customers to shop their favorite local grocery stores, facilitating doorstop deliveries in just 1 hour. You can shop stores like Price Chopper and Hen House, Save a Lot, just to name a few. We even have Petco and PetSmart because we love the pets. The first delivery is free, and all other deliveries are just $5.99, making Speedway Groceries the most promising and futuristic companies of America. We're giving back 1 to 3 hours of a customer's day from physically shopping, and every item in each store is in your phone when you download this app. Our target market is people who want the groceries at their doorstep, people with busy schedules, customers who don't like shopping, and people who don't have a car or don't like driving, or elderly people living in living assistance facilities. Our business model, Speedway Groceries, is an on-demand delivery platform. We offer 1-hour deliveries, curbside assistance also, no warehouses, no huge delivery vans. You can just consider us as Uber in your kitchen. Our personal shoppers use their own vehicles. Products from any area grocery store and profiles of personal shoppers. So there's no surprises when you have shoppers coming to your door. You know exactly who's coming to your door because you've picked them. Customers can spec meats, perishables, live via FaceTime through this app. This app is the first app in the entire world to allow FaceTime in this space. So that way customers can inspect their perishables, fruits, meats, vegetables. That's huge. Okay, customers order through website or app, can select stores and items from online store list. Customers can select personal shoppers, pay online, can schedule orders for different times and dates. Personal shoppers procure items and deliver. Personal shoppers receive orders on their smartphones. Shoppers are stationed near the stores to save time. Shoppers pick orders, item manually, then pay grocery bill through our Speedway Groceries debit card. Shoppers then deliver the groceries to the customer's door via their own vehicles, and shoppers receive tips outside of their 1 hour pay. Our go-to-marketing plan, we have an expansive amount of channels we can use for our marketing, and what we see here is what we're going to use. Facebook, we're going to use all kinds of search engines, marketing, organic, pay-per-clicks, direct mail campaign, we're going to do print advertising, we're going to do public relations, web developments, all sources of ways to get this out there. Speedway Groceries has significant competitive advantages over Hy-Vee, Amazon Fresh, and Peapod. And while Speedway Groceries is at parity with Instacart on most service features, it is advantaged by customer selections of personal shoppers and customers reaching customer service, reaching their personal shoppers, and inspecting foods via face chat and building a high trust experience. Why is Speedway Groceries better? Customers can select personal shoppers, delivery drivers. Speedway Groceries is the first to accept SNAP benefits for those who receive government assistance. So that way everyone has a chance to receive the Speedway Groceries services. We also love pets, so we have added Petco and PetSmart. Projections, 2017. We see that, well, in our greater KC metro, we know that this app is the first of its kind in both states, Kansas and Missouri. With the greater KC metro, we have about 1.6 million people just living in our metro area. We see that in 2017, we could gain about 30,000 users within this year. Our seed funding, we're looking for $3 million, and that's to get our upgrade customers app, payroll, marketing, and branding development. Customers can shop and receive orders in only 1 hour. Customers select personal shoppings, allowing them to use the same shopper over and over, building a high trust. Innovative use for FaceTime for customer service communications, customers live inspection of perishables, groceries direct from stores, proven grocery store executive as advisor, Mark Valdiviso, and he's our executive director for Speedway Groceries. That's about it. Thank you.
Nicholas, thank you. Couple questions for you. Favorite hairband from the 80s? Go. No, kidding. All right, that's an old joke. So how long have you been providing service so far?
Actually, we launched this Friday. So we haven't done it yet. We start delivering this Friday, and we go from there. So
Okay. And how many employees are part of your team at this point?
we have already 50 personal shoppers. We have a 20-man marketing team. We have we have a 10-man customer service team also. So we're actually ready to go.
Okay. And how do you keep track of all of the products available in all these different stores and the prices?
The stores you see here are the stores we have partnered up with. So every week we get an update on new items, discontinued items through a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, through the manufacturer or through the store. So.
Thank you.
You talked about your target market as being 4 or 5 different segments. How large is those segments combined numerically in this Kansas City metropolitan area, do you think?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
How many people in your target market exist here in Kansas City? The people who live in elderly, living assisted places, and all of the other bullet points that you...
Well, within the greater KC Metro, we have about 360 living assisting facilities for elderly. I don't know how many people live in those homes, okay, but I know it's a lot. I mean, 360 homes, that's a lot of people. Like I said, we have about 1.6 million people just in our KC Metro. We really don't know who don't have cars and who does, but what we do know is that our services provides a huge convenience for those who don't have time to shop, or those who can't get to the stores, or those who don't have the money to get to the bus stop to get to the grocery store. That's why we had it set up to where we can accept SNAP benefits for everyone to receive services like this.
And then my other question was, so your differentiating factor was essentially FaceTime, so that you can see your products and you can talk to the person that's buying the stuff for you and all that stuff. How do you see that sort of proprietary feature moving forward with companies like Amazon and Hy-Vee, who are quickly being able to put out new things?
According to research and development, when it comes down to online ordering for groceries, a lot of customers are skeptical about buying breads, meats, and vegetables and fruits because they're not there to look at it. We want to look at our watermelon before we buy it, right? And that's why we have this FaceTime, so there's no excuse. You can see exactly what we're purchasing for you live. That way you can be at 2 places at one time. You could be at your office and contact your personal shopper. Hey, can I see those bananas? Yes. He show you the bananas. Great, So we're stopping, when it comes down to perishables and things like that, we want to make it more comfortable for customers to actually pay for those types of foods online.
And then my final question, as a user, I get on the app and I pick all my groceries out. Do I pay for it right there?
Yeah.
Or do I get charged after it's delivered? How does that work?
No, you pay online, just like Amazon. You pay first, then get it delivered. So what you would do is you go on the app, you select your store, select the items. After that, you will select your personal shopper of who you want to deliver those items. And then you will be prompted to pay. and then you will have a delivery window of 1 hour, or you can schedule your deliveries.
Nicholas, I downloaded the app, and if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned that you pay per hour for the shopping. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a formula base. I'm sorry, I misrepresented that section.
Okay.
We have a formula base on how our personal shoppers get paid. They get paid by the size of the order and how many orders they pump out per day. So it fluctuates from $10 to $12 an hour.
So so if I purchase something, am I paying, is there any upcharge per item
Yes,
I'm buying?
there is. This is how Speedway groceries work. There is a 25% surcharge on items in our online list. So that way we can keep paying for our personal shoppers to keep the business alive.
Okay.
We also offer, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, Speedway Boost. That is a membership annually that you can receive free deliveries up to a full year with various offers and, and coupons. Those services that we provide, which is priced at $199 per year, but you can upload any coupon you want and use those coupons online.
Okay.
You're the first to do that.
So because there's a surcharge per item, which makes sense, that's not easily found on your information.
Okay. It should be in the terms and conditions.
Okay. It should be very easily seen.
Okay.
Because nobody likes to kind of enter something and then, get charged extra fees that they weren't aware of.
Right.
And that's going to be a poor first impression.
Yeah, it's
I mean, you're providing a service and people should be willing to pay for it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But they should know straight up what they're paying for.
Oh, yeah.
Because being clear on that, I think is very important. But I like what you're up to. So congratulations.
Thank you. It is listed in the terms and conditions.
All right, we're going to open it up to the audience. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'll go ahead and kick it off. You said that you just launched on Friday, but it seems like you're launching this Friday. So it seems like, most companies will start with an MVP, a very small version, but it seems like you're already offering a ton of services. So how did you get to that point? What was your strategy starting there?
Well, we're going to launch with the prototype now. The beta app will be finished mid-February. But the app we have now is a working prototype. You can pay and you can actually have your groceries delivered. Now, the technology I've mentioned with the FaceTime, with the customer selection, that will be available mid-February in the beta app.
All right, raise your hand if you have a question. Got one up around here, another one over here.
So what's your customer service policy? So if somebody buys it and they don't like it, and how do you coordinate that? And how do you have this huge logistics surrounding this process?
Yes, if there's any case where a personal shopper forgets an item or picks the wrong item, those customers are reimbursed immediately. That's how we take care of that, if I've understood you correctly.
You mentioned groceries in as little as 1 hour. Is the 1 hour a guarantee?
1 hour is guaranteed unless you use FaceTime. That can differentiate the times.
What happens if it takes longer than an hour?
The personal shopper shall call you and let you know that he may be a few minutes late due to traffic or weather, anything. But he shall give you a call.
Okay.
Another one up front here.
Great presentation, very comprehensive.
My first time.
That's
Thank
fine,
you.
that's fine. Very genuine still. Can you tell us, though, what is your elevator speech? What is your one message you want to get out there that makes you stand out?
What makes us stand out is that you can select any store you would like on our online shopping list. You can select a personal shopper. You can inspect your perishables via FaceTime. This is one of the most promising and futuristic companies of America. We're changing the way we shop for groceries here in Kansas City, Kansas, and all over the world. We're just not for Kansas. This is a national company. We shall be in Canada by next year. But my elevator pitch is Speedway Groceries is a mobile app and website that allows customers to shop their favorite local grocery stores, facilitating 1 hour deliveries, one-stop deliveries. I'm very nervous, you guys. Please forgive me.
You got one over there? Nope. All right, we got one back here to your right.
So congratulations on getting up there and doing the presentation. We know that can be kind of scary sometimes. That being said, I have a couple of just like maybe constructive criticism. So I downloaded the app, I have an Android phone. It crashed instantaneously, and it's not terribly user-friendly, so I tried to reinstall and get access to that. So that is something, obviously you can't work for every test case, but just, you know, as you're getting ready to go live, you know, it might be something that you really want to look into, make sure that that works. I also noticed that your website on mobile is not terribly friendly. It's trying, but you know, I had a hard time figuring out where to go. So I think you probably want to sit down with your developer and really figure out like what is the key information that you need a first-time user who doesn't know anything about your business. Like, what is that thing that you need to present to them? I think that the SNAP benefits is really cool because, you know, there is sort of a stigma against like these pay services, you know, that says it's not really accessible to everyone. So that, I mean, if it were me, I would think that that would go, you know, sort of up front and really be advertised. And then, yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that you can't stress enough that if I'm going to be paying 25% more for products in some cases that are already a premium, like you need to tell me that in somewhere other than the terms and conditions. Like I need to be very clear that I am not only paying $10 to $12 an hour for a shopper, $6 to have it delivered to my door, but that in addition, my $4 milk is going to cost me 25% more than that. So. Right. That's my feedback.
Well, I'm sorry. Just last week, you guys, we hit the 500 download mark. So we have crazy ads on the app now. And we're going to monetize that today. So I'm sorry about all the ads that you see. And it's kind of making the app crash. But that's what happens when you have mass downloads so fast. So we're going to work on that. Now, as far as we're going to make it plain to customers that there is a 25% surcharge. And we're not going to hide it in the terms and conditions. We're going to make it plain so that way there's no surprises. But that's just how we have to have these charges so the company could live. So, right.
Yeah, I think the point is just get it out of the terms and conditions, put it in there with everything else.
Yeah, I won't hide it. Sorry about that.
I have a question. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you're here today, like your entrepreneurial journey of how you started Speedway Groceries?
Well, I'm Nicholas Smith. I'm an independent entrepreneur here in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm 31. Got a college degree at Johnson County Community College, business management. I'm a pastor's kid, so been in church all of my life. And what made me come up with this, it was I was corporate for 2 years ago, making really good money, drove a nice car, Mercedes, really nice house. And I was driving down Truce one day, and I saw a lady with children walking from off of the bus stop with bags of groceries. Now I'm 31 years old, making lots of money, and I see this lady who has a less fortunate, life right now. So I thought about a way, hey, instead of this lady, hauling her kids around with bags of groceries, crossing the streets, what if I could make it safer for her to get her groceries? And that's where I came up with Speedway Groceries, to get groceries to the front doors of customers.
Question up front here.
Couple of questions and maybe some feedback. First, I'm looking at the app right now. I'm looking at Brussels sprouts from Aldi, $3.37. Just to get back to the 25% issue, is that 25% in that $3.37 already?
That is, yes.
So that $3.37 includes the 25% surcharge?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. I think you're telling people what they're going to actually pay.
Yeah.
Maybe a little feedback on your presentation. Did you practice it in front of anybody?
Yes, it's a different ball game when you're in front of a new
Right. And I get it. I've presented here actually before. So I would tell you a couple of things. Don't read your PowerPoint. Learn your PowerPoint, and then when you get in front of the room, talk to the people.
Right.
We can read it, and it'll make you seem a lot more genuine, I think, and a lot more believable. The second thing is on your valuations, going to $14 million in revenue the first year seems a little unbelievable based on what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. So I would be careful there, because I think you're setting the bar and the expectation so high that you could crash before you get out of the gate.
Well, we will also be in 5 other major cities this year also.
Yeah.
The milestone
Even
is
though
that
with 5 other major cities, at $5.95 a transaction and a 25% surcharge, $14 million, that's a long way to go.
Well,
so I'm just saying, I think you would want to consider being a little more conservative in your presentation and your pitch right out of the gate.
There's a formula when it comes down to deliveries. Now, the first delivery is free, and all other deliveries is $5.99, as long as a customer spends above the amount of $35.
Right.
Now, anytime a customer spends the value under $35, then the delivery fees change. For 1 hour delivery fees under the amount of $35 is $10.99 for that delivery. Now, if you wanted a 2-hour scheduled delivery, it would become $8.99 if you spend under the value of $35.
Right, and I get all that, and I'm really not trying to be combative.
Right.
I'm just saying that you haven't proven any of this yet.
Well,
you haven't launched. You have 500 downloads.
Mm-hmm.
If you do the math on 500 downloads, you're nowhere close to $14 million.
No.
So just be careful there. That's all I'm saying. I'm throwing out a big number like that can make you seem not real.
Yeah, and you have to understand that that this is the first app of this kind here in both states. Instacart is a competitor of mine. In their first year, they made 100 million. So I know that this company can do numbers like that. You have to understand our market size is 1 trillion. The market growth is 50%. So this is a huge deal here.
I've got a question over here on your left.
Yes.
Good morning.
Hey, good
I'm
morning.
curious, I love the idea. I worked in a grocery store growing up and delivered all along the way also. For the personal shoppers, is there a screening mechanism of some sort? I know there's been some controversy with Uber and other type of organizations, other type of companies. How do you pick your personal shoppers?
How do you pick them? Oh, yeah, customers, we have personal shoppers stationed according to your zip code. I'm sorry.
He was asking about the personal shoppers, how you choose them.
How do you choose them?
Yes.
Oh, how do I choose them? Oh, I do a thorough background check, first of all. You have to, no DUIs. We have primarily college kids, which is good, high school kids with driver's license. So we do a very thorough background check, no felonies, no sexual crimes or anything like that. So before we do hire them, we do a extensive background check.
All right, question up front here.
Hi, I'm new to the area, but I know that Hy-Vee does do home delivery already.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how you plan to combat that or, meet that, and what would be the benefit of going your service versus just going direct to the store?
Well, just like Don Costantino's family, I've just partnered up with the Costantino's Price Chopper. They're delivering too, but they want to get away from it. They'd rather use a third party. That's where I come in. The same with Hy-Vee, and we're in cahoots, and we're talking about using my services instead of their own. Amazon. Amazon does grocery delivery, but a lot of customers don't like groceries coming from warehouses. We like to see our groceries come from our favorite stores. And that's the competitive advantage we have.
So a more direct question would be, how do you compete with Postmates, who's already here and will already go pick things up for me? What's your strategy in getting those consumers and competing with the Postmates, who's already in multiple cities?
Our strategy is to, we have various offers. Like I said, we're gonna offer the first delivery for free. Postmates do not allow customers to check out their perishables live. That's a huge competitive advantage we have. Postmates gives you random delivery drivers, so you never know who's coming to your house. With us, you're in complete control of everything. You're in complete control of when you want your groceries delivered, who you want to bring your groceries, and if you want to see your groceries live. That's our competitive advantage.
Question in the center.
First off, I thought your presentation was pretty good. I got several questions for you. I know you guys are very limited on time, but let's just say let's just say I have two questions, but one is building structure for you guys, and the second one, that's going to be the second one. The first question I have is, let's just say I live out in St. Joe.
Yeah.
Or I live in Eastern Jackson County.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's make a better example. Let's just say I live on 27th and Troost. There is no grocery store near 27th and Troost.
Right.
And let's just say there aren't very many people, or like, let's just say a lot of these people out here are rural. If there are a lot of rural people and they want to use this app, how would the drivers go ahead and, how would you charge the drivers, or how would the people pay? Would they pay like per mile they go, or how would?
No, it's one set fee. Once you, like I said, there's a formula when it comes down to deliveries. If you spend above the amount of $35, it automatically attracts a delivery fee of $5.99. That's automatic. So you won't be paying anything extra if you are in a rural area. Now,
how will the people driving be compensated? Because they are using their personal vehicles, and sometimes they want to be reimbursed from the company. How would the drivers be reimbursed on this?
Reimbursed, or how they're paid?
Yeah, like how? Like let's just say I'm one of your drivers. You hired me. I'm a college kid, and I want to get reimbursed for my time delivering the groceries. Reimbursed. Like, let's say
Forgive me, in respect to time, I'm going to jump in. So just quickly, how are you paying your drivers?
They're paid once a week. Personal shoppers upload their banking info through their personal shoppers app, and we're integrated QuickBooks into that app, so that way we can disperse the payments that way. Personal shoppers are paid every week.
Nicholas, thank you so much for your presentation today. Our final question, what can we as a community do to help you?
Please support. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for Nicholas, please. Awesome. Well, thank you all again for joining us this morning. If you haven't yet, be sure and log into the 1 Million Cups app. That will allow you to provide feedback to the presenters and also to us as organizers. Please, please, please go to wherever you download your apps and download that 1 Million Cups app. All right, it is time for Mug Club. Can you please raise your hand if you have been to 1 Million Cups 10 or more times? Excellent, awesome. Put your hand down if you already have a mug. Oh, that was a lot of people. Oh, I'm gonna go back here. Can you please tell us your name and why you come to 1 Million Cups?
Very much. I'm Ann O'Meara. I'm a marketing chick for a long time, and right now I teach marketing and communications over at Avila University. I come because I actually do a lot of sharing with my students, so it's great to see some high school students here, and it's just the learning and the interest and trying to stay on top of new developments.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. While you're on your phone downloading that app, be sure to also join the conversation on Twitter. I'll post some announcements up there for stuff that's going on around the startup community, so please be sure to go to Twitter to see other great events going on in entrepreneurship all around Kansas City. Excellent. All right, let's have a very warm welcome for our next presenter, Eden, with My Med Buddy.
Good morning. My name is Eden Lord, and I am here to talk to you about more than a business and really more than a product. This is a passion of mine and has been for quite some time, and that is the MobiMed QR. And here's why. My little girl is now 7 years old. This was her at 4 months, Children's Mercy. She has a condition called panhypopituitarism with secondary adrenal insufficiency. And unfortunately, newborn screenings did not catch her condition when we were in the hospital and she was first born. She had enough of my hormones left over in her system that all of her testing came back that she was fine, she was good to go, she made her own hormones. So we missed a feeding in June after swimming and kind of, letting her sleep in a little bit, which they always tell you don't wake that sleeping baby. So I kind of peeked, changed the diaper and said, oh, I'll let her rest. And by noon, she was on her way to being comatose. It was actually my husband who saved her life as I sped down 435, and we had her in the front seat of the car, and I remember thinking we're gonna get a ticket, and I hope somebody pulls us over because we need to get to the hospital. Didn't even think to call an ambulance. And my husband, with no medical background, force-fed our baby a bottle in the front seat of our car. That saved her life, unbeknownst to us. When we arrived at the hospital, her blood sugar was at 23. So if he had not given her that bottle in the car and had that intuition and that instinct, she probably wouldn't be sitting in the front row getting ready to go to second grade in a couple of hours. So for us, we had no idea at this point what we were getting ourselves into with a diagnosis. Nobody had heard of this diagnosis. Children's Mercy kind of said, this is what's wrong, on a slip of paper, go home, follow up in a week. And oh, by the way, feed her every 90 minutes with a bottle of apple juice laced with cornstarch. If you don't, you could wake up, honestly, to a dead baby. And nobody wants to hear a physician tell them that. Nobody wants to hear your child's got this rare condition, we can give you this much support, go find a nonprofit. Nobody wants to hear that at all. So in that 7 years since her diagnosis, I have obviously become a personal advocate, a patient advocate. I work a lot with other rare disease patients in the community. We have begun this business to try and help other families like our own, and I do a lot of research support for places like the Pecori Foundation and things of that nature. So that is why we are passionate, is we don't ever want to see this happen to another family member ever again. And honestly, with the technology that we have available today, it shouldn't. So in 2013, which is the most recent stat I could pull down, we're looking at 130.4 million emergency room visits. That means that of those patients who come in ambulatory from an EMS, those EMS workers are tasked with 6 different things that they have to address before they even start transport on that patient. And that is identifying that they have the correct patient, the right patient, if there is a patient-carried medication on them, or if there is a medication on the truck itself, they want to verify that it's the right date of the medication and it's not expired, which typically you would want to happen before the bus even goes out on a shift. The right route, are you delivering the medicine in the proper way? The right medication for whatever the situation calls for. The right dose based on height, weight, and other factors, and then the right documentation, so you know that there is a pathway or a protocol to treating this patient in that particular way. When you look at the rare disease population and how that's impacted, each of you, when you came in, received an envelope. So if you look at the 30 million rare disease patients that are currently diagnosed in the United States, that is a yellow, a yellow envelope. So if you received a yellow envelope and don't mind holding it up, that's the visual representation of how many rare disease patients, every 1 in 10, that would be in our audience. And if you don't have the rare disease yourself, you might be affected. I can tell you right now, myself, my 2 daughters, and my husband, we're about 4 in the room with a genetic deletion that we have. On the flip side of that, what people don't realize is that a lot of the treatments that are developed for rare diseases have benefits and applications beyond the rare disease community and actually have an application in the chronic illness community, which affects 133 million, or 45% of Americans. So if you had a red envelope, that's you. If you're white, you're off the hook. So recently, if you saw it, I believe in the last few weeks, Johns Hopkins released an article stating that the 3rd leading cause of death in the US behind heart disease and cancer was due to medical errors, which is kind of frightening when you think about it. And the question becomes, how do you treat the population if there's not a protocol? So if you want to go ahead and start opening those envelopes, we're going to talk about what the solution is and how we manage it. MobiMed QR is a personalized medical profile that is tied to your tied to a QR code, is accessible on the internet. Almost there. I'm watching too. So in that yellow envelope, there's someone who has a star on the back of theirs in a yellow envelope, and you should have 2 slips of paper. I believe a young lady had it. Just that one? Okay, we might have lost our person. So, had we identified who had that envelope, this would be what would pull up on your phone in the field. It is secure. We use 2-factor authentication for all of the profiles. We're on our own server. There's a separate IP address. There's a separate firewall. No one has access to this unless you give it to them. Obviously, we see them everywhere. We have plenty of applications for them, whether that be on a nursing home file. We have some on the windshields of our car, so in case we are incapacitated and unable to communicate our daughter's medical needs to an EMS who would be treating her, they are able to access that information right down to her protocols, and if need be, a video on how to administer this injection, which is an intramuscular injection, pretty basic, but if you don't know how to do it, there is a video link that would show you how. So other applications, breeze through here, accurate records, if you have an amber alert, silver alert, you know, if you've got frequent medication changes, things of that nature, this would keep track of those. And what sets us apart from our competitors, we offer more information. You could read all my slides, but the fact of the matter is we offer protocols, we offer links to our protocols. Those would be written by physicians who know what they're talking about. Typically, if you're a rare disease family or patient, you do trek to Mayo Clinic, you do trek to the NIH, as we have done, and we have those protocols available so we can bring that knowledge back to Kansas City and educate our physicians here on how to treat that rare disease group. Finally, why aren't we already using these things? Why is there not already a health system in place? Hospitals use that system. However, everybody's got a different one. There's no continuity, and that information lives with the hospital or the health system. It doesn't live with the patient as it should. We do travel, we do go places. So our next steps would be additional tech updates, hopefully funding an app later in the year. Honestly, raising protocol need awareness. Most people don't know they need a protocol until it's too late and they're in the back of the ambulance and nobody knows how to treat them in some instances. We are pursuing national legislation for the administration of patient-carried meds. However, it's not a mandatory requirement if that bill is passed, so it's trying again to build the awareness and then building hospital networks of patients if they choose to opt in. If you don't have a label on you or a bracelet on you, you could still be looked up by your local hospital because you would be in their network. You would still be accessible outside that network for travel as well. And then working on our nonprofit partnerships and fundraising, where if they do opt to build a partnership with us, they have funds coming back into their organization. We do profit sharing with them. And then grants for patients who might not be able to afford our fees. And we also make rare disease community contributions. We have our products in use at Mayo Clinic and National Institutes of Health. So there we go.
Okay, thank you. We're going to open it up to the expert panel now.
Hello, thank you for a fabulous presentation. I think your ability to connect with the audience, or at least myself, was incredible. I'm totally inspired by your story, but I think one of the things a lot of us still have questions about is how your business operates. You know, we see the product, we see the need, and you killed it on that aspect, but as a business, as a nonprofit, there's still money that needs to be generated. How does the business model play out in all of this?
We are for-profit.
You are
we
for-profit.
donate back to nonprofits.
Okay.
The way that we operate is when you go in and you make that purchase. So you go online, you purchase that profile. It opens up an auto form that you go ahead and you complete yourself. We are HIPAA compliant, so you are inputting that information. It's not coming to us and then we're re-inputting it. It's all direct on that form. So from that aspect, it's a lot of user maintenance. We don't review any of the records for you because honestly, if you are searching for a product like this, you're on top of your details. You know what you need, you know what you don't need. We can go through and we do periodic audits to see if someone's missing information. Is kind of a, hey, here's a reminder, have you looked at this? We do send out reminders every 2 weeks, so if you do have a medication change or something that comes down frequently, it's kind of a tickler system. Have you checked it? Is it the most up-to-date information that you have available?
So is this a SaaS company? Is this a service? Do I pay monthly for this profile to be hosted?
$99 for the profile creation, and I'll be honest, a lot of that goes into being able to afford our own server and IP address and all of the security things that come with that. And then we are $4.99 a month for hosting.
How many people do you have already participating in this profile?
Say between 500 and 600.
Is that here in the Kansas City area?
No, that's nationwide.
Wow, that's fabulous.
Slow.
Hi, Eden. How long have you guys been working on this?
Honestly, my father passed away from a rare disease in 2013. And it kind of started fostering in my back of my mind then because he did not have anything as far as being able to pull down something of this nature, pulling down a profile. And his first rare disease diagnosis came when I was 20 and a college student across the street over at UMKC, working at MRI part-time, and I was the only one who had any free time to start tracking where was Dad going. My mom was working full-time, and I thought, okay, you know, I can do this. I can organize stuff. I'm type A, no problem. So I would say, you know, honestly, since 2001, it's kind of been back there, and it's kind of been something on my mind. And as legislation efforts have wound down and quieted down in the last 18 months, we've really been pushing hard.
So you've got customers. Do they wear something like?
Yes, we do have bracelets that we can have manufactured, and it would have the QR code. On the flip side would be that PIN number.
Right.
And their ID number. So if you're unable to scan it for any reason, we have an 800 number that is manned 24/7, and you could call in and have kind of a backup redundancy, so you would still be able to access that information.
Okay. So when I look at I scan the QR code, and I kind of feel like just, you know, the QR code thing is kind of old for me in a way. So I don't really know how many people actually would have a QR scanning app on their phone today. I can't remember the last time I used it, but that's here nor there. But your messaging on your, you know, when I go to that place, that website, it's all feature. It's all feature, 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 feature. The only thing at the top, it says your complete medical profile. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's, you know, we can all be very, like, too close to our product ourselves to really understand how to talk about it. It's so common. And we kind of always want to just talk about the features and say, this is great, all these features are amazing. But when you did your presentation, you kind of gave us the why of why this is, why you're doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to see part of that integrated into your messaging when I first come to your homepage.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's all I got.
Sorry. And I kind of disagree with what he just said about the QR being old. Clearly, our healthcare system does not need the most up-to-date technology to keep profiles and patient stuff up to date. And so I think your QR reader is a good universal tool. So what do you see the impact of the profiles you create being implemented into hospitals of sort?
As I said, I would like to see that hospital network, but unfortunately, I have a real-world experience for you. So with our daughter Cambria and her condition secondary adrenal insufficiency, we are replacing oral steroids or oral hormones. And when she is having any kind of stomach issue and is not able to keep those down, we're headed to Children's Mercy. It's do not pass go, do not collect $200. It's either shoot her at home or shoot her in the car. You know, you shoot her before she gets in, because if you wait and try and administer this on site because you're waiting for medication, unfortunately, security will come get you and they will separate you from your child because you've administered a medication while she's under a doctor's care in that facility. So there are liability issues and legal issues that come with that. We have lost 3 in her community in the last year because doctors either weren't educated, didn't have access to the protocols, or didn't listen to mom and dad when they said, she needs this now. This is an $8 medication. Johnson County is authorized to administer it because it's patient carried. That took me 7 years to achieve. The state of Missouri now will administer patient carried medications. That also took me 7 years, but we have full coverage. We go outside of Johnson County to Wyandotte, anywhere else, Miami, we are not covered. So we play Russian roulette every single time we leave the county. That said, at Children's Mercy, there was a 2 a.m. visit a couple weeks ago, and their system was on upgrade. They couldn't access it. So her physician comes in, she's time critical, and I'm saying, here we go, I've got it. If you can't get it because they don't carry it on the floors, it's right here, you can give it to her, but it was my medication. He didn't have the protocols, he couldn't access the protocols, so I scanned the QR on her medication vial, and boom, I've got Children's Mercy protocols in a PDF format that has her doctor's signature on it. Suddenly people listen. And unfortunately, it's something that has to be done. You have to be prepared. You have to be an advocate. And you know, I see where you're coming from with that personal story, and I agree. And we do a lot of redirects from My MedBuddy, our primary site. But more and more, the people who come out to that site, they already have their story. They already have their why.
Okay, we're going to kick it off to the audience now. I have the first question here in the back center.
Hi, nice presentation.
you.
One thing I noticed that I didn't see on your slides was talking to the EMR companies, electronic medical records companies. Cerner is obviously the biggest player in that market right now. The legislation coming is great, but we all know how fast that usually moves. So I'm curious about, A, what type of adaptability from the doctors you'd even have, and B, are they going to be, you know what, we use this EMR, that's where we keep everything. Do you see any challenges in that? And I guess I'm curious again, are you talking to any of the EMR companies about some sort of integration?
Very tentatively. There's NetSmart as well as, you know, as you mentioned, Cerner. So it's, again, trying to make that justification and get somebody who is perhaps more business focused on the end picture of what an EMR or an EHR does, understanding the patient level. So that's definitely something that I want to pursue going forward to see if we can have that kind of integration. But you'll see me back at the end of this month because they are gracious enough to host me again, and I will be speaking about something else. And hopefully this fall you'll see me a third time, and I'll be a repeat offender talking about the integration portion of that.
Question over here on the right.
Thank you. Very, very nice presentation.
Thank you.
I've got kind of two ideas here in this space. One of them is it seems like you have a very potentially narrow target market with the rare disease scenario, and I'm wondering, have you thought about potentially going towards the insurance companies and taking this up with them to say, hey, you know, could we work with you? Keep this information separate, but help you streamline administrative procedures, potentially reduce the costs if you can provide better services. You know, certainly taking care of somebody appropriately before they make it to the hospital might reduce their costs in that space. Have you looked in those areas, and have you thought about broadening the
I'll
spectrum?
be honest, very tentatively, that it's a fantastic idea. I think highly needed. I, again, will be very honest, most of my time lately has been sitting in senators and congressmen's offices. So there are things that I need to now kind of circle back around and catch up on. But that's an excellent idea. That's a very valid channel, I would think. And, you know, I agree on the narrow focus with the 30 million, but I want those chronically ill patients too, because there is a vast percentage, and I would not want to misquote and misspeak, there's a vast percentage that suffer from more than one chronic condition. And I believe it's somewhere around 45%. So I don't want to just cover those rare disease patients. I want the chronically ill patients too. I want mom who's sitting in a nursing home and her daughter's in California. I want her to be able to pull that up and say, oh, okay, you know, mom's got new protocols in place. That's been taken care of by her facility and it's on her record. So I want them all.
Question here on your right.
Cool presentation and lots of passion behind it. That's awesome. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the impression that all your information entry into your system is consumer-based, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What happens when they get it wrong and a decision is made and there's a tragic outcome? What do the legals say about your liability, their liability, the hospitals? Because if a physician's not charting this and entering it, if it's just a secondary nice to have for them, what if there's incomplete information or overactive hypochondriac mom or dad puts something that Dr. Google said?
Very valid.
I don't know.
I hate to throw it back to terms of service, but that's where legal has put it, and the onus really, unfortunately, is on that person. Again, I would speak to the profile and the type of person who we find is using this is very hypersensitive and on top of it. So we would hope, obviously, that our ticklers and our reminders that go out remind them periodically to share this with your physician. Have they looked at this recently? Has it been updated and things of that nature? But ultimately, it falls on the patient for responsibility.
Question here on the right.
I've got a couple questions.
First, how do you maintain HIPAA compliance? I know that's very critical in terms of medical and in terms of patient protection. Second, I don't want to, I'm not trying to be trite, but say I know the things that you see on the TV shows, the panic buttons. Could you work with something like that where I hit a panic button? I think even some of the new ones have even a fall protection. If the person falls, it automatically calls. I would think if you could do something like that immediately, the hospital knows you're coming. They get the protocols. If they don't have the medicine, it's already there and ready when you're coming. Could you do something like that with it? And
we can do pretty much anything.
well, and being that you're specializing into diseases that maybe there's not a lot of knowledge of, could you be doing research, or if you have research that pertains to their specific disease, hey, at the Mayo Clinic over here, they're running a 100-person trial on XYZ. I mean, that kind of information, can you, so I don't know, there are multiple questions there, sorry.
No, don't apologize at all. HIPAA compliance, remarkably, and I will admit here, I was smart enough way before this to marry an IT genius. So most of my routing goes through him as far as HIPAA compliance and things of that nature. With the HIPAA compliance, since the patients are inputting their information, like I said, the onus falls on them, and that information is not, it's housed in our databases, but we are not technically viewing it on an active basis. We can do a search for maybe an empty field or things of that nature and have a report come back that would trigger an email to the client. But as far as the HIPAA compliance, since they're entering that, that's on that. Now, on our authentication, for example, let's say you've got a key ring, you've got your QR on one side. On the flip side, you would have your photo ID, as well as our call-in number, your ID, and your PIN number. It is as simple as covering that with one of our MobiMed QR labels to make sure that that authentication is in place and that everybody's secure. That's the basic requirement of what that is. I would love to have, you know, forgive me, I've fallen and can't get up people. Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love that, and on down the line, that's definitely something as we have additional, you know, funding revenue coming in that I would definitely want to explore going forward.
Question in the back.
This is absolutely an amazing product and service, and I agree completely that patients definitely need to be advocates for themselves. What I am curious about is in situations where, especially maybe for an older patient, if they become completely incapacitated, how are the EMTs and the emergency professionals knowing to be looking for this information on them?
Ideally, we would be able to communicate, and this will be long-term, but ideally we would let them know, here is the system, and this is in place, and we're in the process of educating our EMS and everything locally, but the patient would be identifying themselves to the EMS. Like my daughter is flagged in the EMS system now. We've gone to them, we've said, here's a copy of everything, just to be on the safe side. You have what we have. But that self-identification would really be how they would let somebody know that they're in the system, and then they would have access.
Question here on the right.
Hi, thanks for your time. I think it's a great idea, great concept. It reminds me of Google Health. Google Health tried to have consumers keep their own profile, and they closed it down, and that was free. And but I think that where you can win with this is if you have pilot hospitals, because the first thing that you said was, one of the first things was the third cause of death after cancer and heart disease was medical error. Mm-hmm. Do you have any pilot studies, or are you thinking of doing any pilot studies with specific hospitals that are using your technology? And then I think that's how it grows, is if you can prove it or support it at least,
exactly,
that you're helping with that. I think that's how you win.
Exactly,
So,
and we've started taking those first steps. What I would like to see is a hospital buy a block and say, we've got a patient who's come in, they meet this criteria, they would benefit from this product, here's your number. And that way they've got that network built, they've got access to those profiles and those users that are coming in as patients that then they can go back and refer to. You know, we do have the ability to go back and look at a report. So let's say we get Children's Mercy, which we've spoken with. They would be able to see, this is how many times that's been accessed in an emergency situation. This is how many times it's been accessed from this IP address. And then we can track that back and say, okay, who do we know is the owner of this IP address? And really take it down on a very micro level to see how the information and the data is being used within the hospital and then outside of the hospital system.
Can you tell us about your customer journey? So how does someone go from knowing absolutely nothing about you to devotee and word of mouth machine?
Hopeful devotee. We partner with nonprofits. I am very fortunate. I have a very good nonprofit relationship with several of the larger ones. I'm learning actually more about different nonprofits every day. And when we do a partnership with them, we offer them 10 to 15% of the profit back that we just pump directly back into their organization. So they are really acting as our marketers, our word of mouth. They see the inherent value, and they want to keep their patients safe just as much as we do. So, you know, that's really the priority. I mean, we could potentially charge more, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, I want to be able to lay my head down at night and know that I did something to help, because I've been in this situation and I know what it's like. And to me, that is very, very satisfactory, and to know that we are partnering with the nonprofits who have the same mindset. That's what I'm after. That's how we're reaching the people.
Last question. What can we as a community do to help you?
Two things: increased awareness. So please, if you know somebody in your life that could benefit from, you know, even if they don't get our product, but from writing stuff down, having a list of their medications when they go to the pharmacy, having a list of their medications when they see their specialist, or having their specialist share information among each other. You know, there's still a lot of competition in the medical field, and it needs to be collaborative. You know, we've got Rare KC here locally. There's so many awesome things happening in this city. We need to mirror that in our relationships. So really, get out there, make sure your loved ones are taken care of, make sure that they're covered, and getting our stakeholder involvement like we talked about with the hospitals and the insurance companies, and really getting everybody on the same page.
Let's hear it. Good job. All right, guys. Thank you for coming out this week. Join us next week. We have OpenToday.com and JFabWorks.